Continuing my current playthrough. Trying to get to 1 million population. The new patches and everything. And continue where we left off.
There is no this point.
Listening to Scott Adams in the background.
Right. Who decides if it? Who decides?
I gotta let the demand push back up here.
That's how you know anything. So why is it?
Speak of the devil.
Why is that not? Why have you never seen?
No.
Keep asking. You're the expert. And then the didn't have voted. So, Jake got it. But a bunch of
Excuse me.
Oh, okay. It's not cheaper. Why is that not? Most we have it. It's not in the news. News before they news. This is not. They can disappear. If there's a more question in why everything you know why we have doesn't prove should prove beyond that. Not always this. You can see it. Right, and the reason for mail-in ballots is that and people always oh, is there any NPC? But what about my grandmother who came to the election? Came out with low. But what about all the people? Yes, they do.
Stop, Chiron.
Anyway, here's the Democrat plan. Register millions of migrants. Tons of mail-in ballots. Use and or to ballots. We know that there's make it distance. Actually, easier to achieve. Big difference. They call it not distance, for which I've never met it. You ever met one? You ever met? Person who really. You ever seen that black person who couldn't get an ID according to the United States basis? Others are reporting EMV. Washington State moving. States are different. You know, I thought you on the EMV is a state issue. But still, every time the Democrats do something, the same direction. How do you not? You're not. No, you all. That's right. I'm them. It's the chief. Yeah. Republicans carry. Now we have this. Thing of it. But Biden's not going to send the bill. What will he? That will be basically leaving that. He's going to say, oh, no, you don't need the law. We would argue, but if you're massive, we're illegal. Biden said, you already know. But they're not. People just gaslight. Here's that. Be law. And then the next one will be.
Hello, Eve Adam. Hope you're doing well today.
There's widespread divorce. She will say, the press will say, they are. She will say, but here, the law is actually every we're seeing it from everywhere.
What's going on, right? How you doing?
And I've argued that everything else.
No, I'm a variety streamer. I play a bunch of different games.
Really clear. Can't answer that one. Questions been asked so many. watching this. That they might be able to do this way. Alright, well, that gives away the whole game. Unwilling. Jason Miller is talking. He's next.
I stream 5 days a week, Monday through Friday.
In 2008.
Unless I'm like on vacation or something.
Every year Biden's what might be who says Biden did was doing business.
Well, thank you.
But the Biden trifecta. That's the it seems like they know.
I appreciate that, Evan. Thank you.
Your own doctor. Guess you have to have a doctor. Minimum you have to have a doctor. So I would assume that can't know, can't read his mind. He should lose the doctor. So Le Pen happens at the surprisingly good campaign parties. What happened?
I know.
So now prosecutors.
You've actually been on my channel before and talked to me about that.
Yeah, that's a genuine.
I'm not really looking for that right now. Unless you can promise to me that my Twitch will grow 500% in a couple months. I gotta make money before I can spend it.
Audio picture. Right. Hindu Reddy says that Trump finds it. I didn't realize this, and it's some kind of executive. Let's see. AI people groups, which is characteristic. Opens rate will be not building. Now, of course, there are two camps. I think they go. Or go slow on AI. Yeah. Because if you just do that, our cities Going slow and letting series. Is so just bad. We should just no, I think you gotta go first. Even that, even if the risk so if AI is really doesn't matter all that. If it's not that big, that kind of thing. Where it's not. One where so there is no argument. Argument. Stands the case. And put it. Those are here two choices. We have two choices. It was out. But if you were only going to be a one, is a bigger. If you didn't know anything about it, and Trump, really good. Trump is right, well, there's a NATO's Wall Street Journal. Concerning to the site analogy, but it's going to look like it's going to be a chance it's going to technology. I think that's going to be. This is bad risk. I want James Carville. Six mini primary. This is the process should be. Of course, obviously, basically, for example, if you could be a bit off, you've heard me say, this like, so if the hawk is that was a long way to get there. John Kirby press conference. The press conference. rather than the answer. Give you a President of the United States. Okay. President is, would you say on his big boy, his billboard requires you get out of here. Say that finally get out. About be worried. Who say that? The man who knew this, he was deep issue. Finally get it. Yeah, but no one didn't get fired. And Trump told us. Just think about it. Look at this. No problem. No. First of all, Biden's doesn't fire. Don't even have to. Like a
disagree with private anyway. You Democrats. Well, let's read the story. I'll stress this too. When I heard that Kevin Roberts said, bloodless if the left allowed me, you need to understand what he's saying. Okay? What he's saying is, and I think what he truly means, if the left doesn't go insane and burn this country to the ground, we are going to win and have a change. But you need to understand what you are saying to them, not what you are trying to say. I'm gonna guess I took guest who said something, he was basically saying, if you're on the left, you really do think Trump is Hitler. Well, you know, and I'm like, no. You do not live in a vacuum. You are not just speaking to the people who will understand what it means when you say Second American Revolution. Bloodless if the left allows it. If a leftist said that, if Antifa stood up on a milk crate and yelled to Antifa, they are engaging in a Second American Revolution only if we allow it. That's a rallying cry to the far left to take violent action. I think you can't say stuff like that. What's happen is we need Republican lawyers, we need libertarian lawyers, we need lawsuits and challenges on unconstitutional actions to counter the shadow campaign, win with the ballots, Trump gets elected, get a Republican Congress, and then we do things like secure the border. Democrats are saying, like, Trump's going to be a dictator. He wants to be what he's claiming he's going to. No, he's not claiming he's going to. I just can't stand it. I'm watching the news like, Trump says he wants to be a dictator on day one. On Fox News, Brett Baer. Brett saying, that's not true. It's not true at all. If someone said to me, yeah, well, Trump says he wants to be a dictator on day one, I'm like, is that what you're referring to? No, he said, yeah, he said he wanted to be a dictator so he could drill oil. It's a turn of phrase. He's being somewhat facetious. He's saying he's going to go in and he's going to bring back Keystone. He's not talking about rounding people up. It's lies, okay? Lies they use, rally their base, and it's unchecked. What we want, and what we're going to get, I'll tell you what we're going to get. Is, gentlemen, if you vote for Donald Trump, overwhelming likelihood you will get. Okay, it's not going to be a Roger Trump tweet. Trump will fire some people, hire some bad people. There will be some questionable foreign policy. The economy will generally improve. Our border security will generally improve. There will be some degree of deportation. It will not be this mass militarized campaign or whatever. Trump will probably not have any strong prosecution against the far left or Democrats. You are going to, like, half the time, and you are going, well, I guess that's all. Your costs are going to go down, and you're going, I appreciate the peace attempts in you. That's about it. What can I say of Trump's work? He hired bad people. Get rid of TPP. USMCA is pretty good. Brought manufacturing back to certain states. Got reinvestment from the big corporations.
Increasing areas of
No
forest
new war.
are being engulfed by flames.
Withdraw time frame for.
From the fire makes the air dangerous.
And he hired people like Bolton. He handled raids in Yemen to the end of Saudi Arabia. Missile strikes on Syria being praised by the corporate press. Trump hired some bad people. We all grumble. But it overwhelming, overall, it's like a 55-60% positive. A lot of bad days, we're good. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I wasn't voting for the lesser of two evils. I felt like I was voting for, let's be honest, appropriate way to say this for a family friend, I'm trying to be family friendly. A crude man. Certainly a crude man. He's funny. He's funny. Lacking a bit in the decorum. And positive. I dig it. I don't care about the tweets. They're fun. Roll up. There's this really great restaurant nearby. It's a shack, and I'll say, that's you. And I'm like, come on, that's exactly what that's the attitude we need. Oh, somebody wants to wave a Biden flag, I don't care. Somebody wants a flag, I'm not going to cry about it. If City Hall fly a pride flag, I'm going to say, I'm not a fan of religious symbols in public institutions. You want to do a rotation in the court? Here's religion. But fly a flag, your religion, on my City Hall. Well, let's read the story. New York Times, then we'll talk about where we're currently at. Joe Biden has sent a letter to Democrats saying he will not back down. That's big news. Considering election and how Democrats want non-citizens. Second American Revolution. It's pretty. New York Times reported, President of the Heritage Foundation, a right-wing think tank, has developed a prominent series of policy plans to overcome. President said on Tuesday, the country was in the process of the Second American Revolution, and bluntness in the group's President Kevin D. Roberts made the comments in an interview on the War Room. And to advisor Stephen K. On Bannon's show. Bannon himself did not host the show because he was in prison. Mr. Roberts was discussing the Supreme Court's ruling on Monday that presidents have substantial immunity prosecution for the promise. We ought to be really encouraged by what happened yesterday. Despite of all the injustice, James' friends and audience of the show, we know we are going to prevail. That's represented. He wanted to say that the radical left was apoplectic because our side is winning. And so I come full circle in this response and just want to encourage you with some substance. You're in the process of the Second American Revolution. Nonetheless, to be right on, thank you, bro. Interviewer, former rap David Bradford. If the left allows it to, you don't understand Antifa saying he will walk into everything if you let. This is, I understand what he's saying to everyone pay attention. So long as the left doesn't go crazy, this will be a standard process. But what he's saying to the left is, gear up, baby. No. And I know people who talk that way, and I'm like, guys, stop. And what the left tries to try to argue that I advocate kind of wild because I'm probably like the staunchest anti-civil, and that's the lie they push. They are evil people. It's crazy. I do. When I was younger, I didn't really believe in evil. I really didn't. Get competing interests. If that's not true. I've encountered such evil these past several years. It's unimaginable. Nope. We're currently. That is gearing up as insane as possible. They are apoplectic. You should not be using language that basically it's rude. Attention is stable as a language. Mr. Roberts' remarks are publicized liberal media matters, which basically means nonsense garbage. I want to mention, why is Steve Bannon in jail? Eric Garland's not in jail. I don't understand how there could be any sane person listen to a different life, pay attention to the news, and they don't question. The other guy on Tim Castellano, we argued. He said, yeah, well, Bannon's tied to mobsters. So you're authoritarian. The idea that the government can simply say, criminal, so use any law we can to arrest them. Yeah, that's not good. Eric Garland defied a congressional user over on Joe Biden's conversation with as to why he will not be prosecuted for crimes we know he committed. Because Merrick Garland was referred to criminal prosecution, DOJ refused, and now they're pushing it. Before at the holiday weekend, so see where we're. Ask yourself why. I don't know if second trigger revolution is the right. We're in some kind of strife. Old Civil War is probably better. You know what I've said to this strife? Like, if people and they're advocating for national no! That's what the communists want. They want the country to break apart. They want to seize control of it, and they want you to encourage it. If this country fractures in national divorce, it will be shreds. China will come in, Iran will come in, Russia will come in. Varying interests, allying with various factions, and you will get international conflict. Civil War in the United States begets World War III internationally. Can't handle that. Don't want it. I want to be able to sit down in my $600 reclining massage chair. Not yet, they're actually. I want to sit in my massage chair, put on the World Series of Poker, order some chicken wings, and dip them in ranch dressing. Doesn't that sound fun? But able to have such comforts and luxuries for two big reasons. First, men and women in uniform are. Don't get me wrong, but establishment uses these. Hey, but it's true. Is the men and women in uniform make our luxury possible? If the petrodollar and our airbase overseas, like it or not, that's true. I respect people who say medicine. Next up is those on the front lines of the domestic policy disputes. These individuals like you who are paying attention to what's come to know how to vote, when to rally, how to get people to sign up and register to vote. We are secondary. People who actually support the nation. But it is the core form of population that protects all of them. For disrespect, laziest people. And the smart people who don't care. It is the informed political citizenry that make it possible for us to sit around, dipping our chicken wings in ranch dressing and watching sport. That's end of the day, that's all you get. You gotta do the work. You gotta pay attention to what's going on. You gotta tell our friends and family they have to. For the AP, Biden assails plan to transform government and Trump's claim to be unaware of it. Trump says, I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who's behind it. Disagree with some of the things they're saying and some of the things are absolutely ridiculous. And anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have. This is the weirdest thing about Democrats, about the left, the establishment. Tucker Carlson is speaking in, where was he, Australia? And a journalist asks, "You've said that white people aren't being replaced." And people, I don't think I've said that. I challenge you to quote me. Said that. And she goes, "Well, it's been reported." Like, I never said it. And he said the interests of black Americans are just as the interests of white Americans. And there are black families in America who've been here families have been here for 400 years. And their interests are they matter just as much. And he said, "I said native-born Americans are being replaced." And the journalist goes, "No, you didn't. You're lying. You think white people are... Hold on. Here is the man standing in front of you telling you outright. I don't believe that. I reject that. They think there's some secret plot behind the scenes where Tucker's like, I better espouse views I don't agree with to rally people to... What? What is this ridiculous world these people live in where anyone is going to rally for... now I understand. They live in Democrats go on stage every day and advocate for things they don't actually... They assume everyone else is the same. So when Tucker Carlson says, I don't think white people are being replaced, Americans are... They go, no, you mean white people. Give a response. Do you think it's white people objecting here? Because the idea that I would espouse and believe I don't have to hold, I think I would work here. This is the strangest thing. But I think I understand it. The capacity of Democrats to advocate for things they don't actually do. They project that. They commit crimes, they say Trump committed. When Joe Biden engaged in a pro quo, president of Ukraine, they said Trump engaged with a
Pro Joe.
Well, at the very least, you both did. But Joe Biden did for sure, right? Now, there's that big debate over Donald Trump and Nicole. I put it this way. The left says Donald Trump was trying to dig up dirt on the... And I'm kind of like, why would he need Ukraine to do that? Why wouldn't he just instruct his assets? American domestic assets, his private... He did this hush-hush deal with Cohen. Cover up Daniels. But then he done an official phone call to dig up... Are you kidding me? Come on, man. And then Joe Biden said, don't find the prosecutor not getting $1 billion. He publicly admitted that. And the prosecutor was investigating Burisma where his son worked. At the very least, we call that a conflict of interest. Fact. Biden engaged in conflict of interest. You could argue that you don't think you protect his son. I don't care. That's conflict of interest. Fact. Donald Trump called the president and had a conversation. He said he wanted to know what that whole thing was about. Joe Biden's quid pro quo. Trump was like, what was that quid pro quo thing? Trump did a quid pro quo. Trump did it. Trump was investigating your quid pro quo. Trump's denying it. Here we go. Newsweek says Project 2025 ties cannot be denied by Trump. Here, it's a weird thing they're latching on. I'll tell you what I care about. House Democrats have rallied and are calling for Joe Biden to step down. Joe Biden wrote a letter to the Democrats saying he won't drop out. And we're all sitting here saying, how are they going to win? Let's not use it. Let's go to House Democrats launch united effort against election bill requiring vote. Democrats are urged to vote no on HR H281. Here's a leader frame. Marine Le Pen's party, largest party in France. However, the left formed a coalition, and together they have more seats in the actual French nationalists do not have the ability. Democrats want citizens to and your country. They can open it. They can vote America. Let you vote your vote. Republicans are no. We want to kick you out. You can't vote, you're not a citizen. Democrats made sure you make a check. Happens. United States. Oh, it'll be some passive. Well, my friends, I don't think it's fair to say it's the second American I think it's more fair to say, right, call it cold civil strife is the official definition that ran according to academics on the left and the right. Journalists, a period of entirely possible things remain calm. Entirely possible that we don't get some talk of civil war and slavery. Bubbled up in 1860. Period of 7 years of blood and violence. Kansas. That's here in civil strife. For all you know, you might get Trump to finish a term. Country can. Here's before. I'll warn you of this. Recent news that maybe has done the petrodollar deal. Here's on with all these dollars. Prices are going to spike dramatically. Leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. in this channel. Thanks for hanging out. We sit, we cheer. Joe Biden's brain is fried. The world knows it. Late night comedy hosts are mocking Joe Biden. Democrats are demanding he step down. Kamala Harris, next in line, could never be Donald Trump. Donald Trump is on track to lose in November. I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm not saying it because it's a bit hyperbolic, but according to the polls, economic data, it suggests a Donald Trump victory. That's the truth. However, when you look at the more nuanced politics of what's going on in this country, I think it's fair to say that there is a shadow campaign like there was in 2020. And Donald Trump is on track to lose. Why? Because Republicans cannot and will not address a very serious problem. One that was brought up by Donald Trump back in 2016. Trump said illegal immigrants are voting in this country to the tune of millions. Media, of course, said that's a lie. Well, to be fair, Donald Trump just saying that doesn't prove anything. But also, just calling it a lie doesn't prove anything either. Unless they do a full forensic audit of an election, how do you determine whether or not there is or is not a problem? I don't know. Donald Trump is right about millions of illegal immigrants. What I do know is that, for one, initially it doesn't matter if they vote. If they are counted on the census, then the states that allow illegal immigrants will get more electoral college votes, and thus Democrats are cheating. But now the fix is in, says the Daily Caller. The SAVE Act. Republicans want to make it so that if you want to vote, you gotta prove you're a citizen. Democrats say, why? Why even bother doing that? Now there's two problems here. First, this bill won't pass. Even if Republicans in the House say yes to the SAVE Act, the Senate will not vote on it. And even if it gets to Joe Biden, he will veto it and say we don't need it. And you're not going to get a veto-proof majority in the House or the Senate. So this goes no. And that's not a big problem. That's just one of them. You also have the Help America vote verification system, which is showing us outright anomalous voter registration data not being addressed by it. So I ask you this, what is the remedy? If illegal immigrants vote, what is the remedy? Now, of course, we hear from Joe Biden, Democrats, that they're not.
We'll have a no confidence
it's illegal for them to vote.
Election in
That is
2025.
People do that every day.
2025.
Murder
And the
is
government
illegal.
will no longer exist.
People do that every day. More
That's
importantly,
what will happen.
speeding is illegal, and quite literally everyone is speeding. So telling me a thing is illegal so it doesn't happen is just utter nonsense. But I'm supposed to sit here and be confident that Trump and the Republicans can win. There is no effective system in place to prevent illegal immigrants from voting. And they've added, 7-10 million to the past. Now, of course, there's also the legal immigrant, which is about 1 million per year. These people overwhelmingly vote Democrat. I do not see how you solve this. Now, of course, Trump is very, very ahead in the polls. Joe Biden says he's not backing down. Maybe none of that matters. Maybe it will be Joe Biden. He says, I'm going to run this race. Maybe the point is they're going to convince you Trump can't lose. And so you're distracted while the real problem is happening. I don't know how many, if any, illegal immigrants. My point is the system is insecure. We can't track it properly. And there are many municipalities that allow non-citizens to vote. What happens then? You've got to register to vote if you're a non-citizen. This is right. Uh-oh. That includes your federal registration. You know what they say? This is what Biden says. He says, it's illegal for non-citizens to vote. They would go to jail or get deported. I gotta tell you, I'm not sure Democrats are concerned about the well-being of the individual who votes. In which case, sure,
Atlas.
there might be illegal immigrants voting. And if for some reason they get caught, you think Democrats care about getting deported? Because they win legally.
Get there.
This is it. The election fix is in. Now, Donald Trump has issued a statement. Republicans must pass the SAVE Act or go home and cry yourself to sleep. Non-citizen illegal migrants are getting the right to vote, being pushed by crooked Democrat politicians who are not being stopped by an equally dishonest Justice Department. Our whole voting system is under siege. Harmeet and David go to court and get this stopped now. Dems can't win on their policies. The only way they can win is to cheat. They do it at every level of government, and they do it well. That's how they get an incapacitated moron like Joe Biden elected. Gets up RNC, Michael W.'s Speaker Johnson, and all state and local Republican politicians. Justice Department is corrupt and won't do a thing to help. They have no shame. All I can say that if I'm elected president, we will pursue election fraudsters at levels never seen before, and they will be sent to prison for long periods of time. We already know who you are. Don't do it. Zuckerbucks, be careful. Trump posted this morning. What are you going to do, Trump? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are any of you going to be able to do about this? Here's the important thing at the state level where you can, and gaining control of as many states, delegations, legislatures, governorships as possible. This has to be remedied at the local. California will keep cheating. Illinois, New York, Washington, they will cheat to the high heavens. You need to be able to shut them down at the state level. Bring it down to real simply for this. California allows illegal immigrants into the They call themselves a sanctuary state in defiance. They do not deport illegal immigrants. The census then asks people who lives here. Congressional seats are then portioned based on how many people live, not citizens. This means Democrat districts are likely around 650 to 700,000 U.S. citizens, and then maybe 50K illegal immigrants. They give themselves a buffer margin to the amount of electoral college votes they get and seats in Congress. So their votes outweigh votes of the American people. But think about what this means. It means that one Democrat has a captured constituency of illegal immigrants who vote. Right? The average Republican district, you're going to have 775,000 people. They all get a say on who their candidate and who their nominee is. In the Democrat California districts, or sanctuary state districts, there's a portion who are non-citizens who are represented by the member of Congress who don't have the right to vote. I tell you where this is going. Democrats in the future will say, oh, you're right, Tim. That's wrong. We do represent these non-citizens. They should have the right to vote. That's exactly where we're going. Ballotpedia breaks it down. Details about non-citizen voting in elections. As of June 2024, District of Columbia and municipalities in California, Maryland, and Vermont allowed non-citizens to vote some or all. They say, don't worry, it's illegal to vote in the federal elections. Meaningless. San Francisco says in 2016, voters in SF passed a chartering amendment called Prop N. 54% support. The amendment read, shall the city allow a non-citizen resident of San Francisco who is a legal voting age and the parent or legal guardian or legally recognized caregiver of a child living in SF, school district, blah, 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 vote, the right to vote for members of the Board of Education. Law took effect in 2018. Judge Richard B. Ulmer Jr. struck down Prop N in July 2022, stating the law violated the state constitution. California Court of Appeal overturned his ruling a few months later, argued that Prop N was in fact permissible under the state's constitution and the city charter. According to the City of San Francisco's website, on August 8, 2023, California Court of Appeals upheld their non-citizen voting program. DC allows it. In Barnesville, Cheverly, Chevy Chase Section 3, Garrett Park, Glen Echo, Hyattsville, Martin's Additions, Mount Rainier, Riverdale Park, Somerset, and Tacoma Park allow non-citizens. In Vermont, Burlington, Montpelier, Winooski, same deal. Now, you may be saying these are local elections. Yeah, let me break it down for you. They are told you are allowed to vote in local elections, not federal ones. But you better show up to register to vote. Non-citizen shows up to get their registration paperwork in order. And when they do, whoopsie, it's the same registration for the federal. Or more importantly, maybe they show up for the election. School board election happens the same day as an election. And they go and they say, who are you voting for president? They go, oh, I guess. Took a crossing board about this, and I don't see a direct remedy. The only way to win is going to be mass, just like mass turnout. Every single person needs to turn out and vote to shut this down. Otherwise, this country is gone. Now, they've flooded this country with millions of illegal immigrants in the past couple of years to the point where they have shocked and terrified Chicago, New York, LA. That could make a difference. The media machine, it goes hard, ladies and gentlemen, and there are people who believe absolute utter nonsense. They believe whatever psychobabble garbage the media tells them to believe. I don't know how you remedy that. So what we have now, my friends, those of you who are watching and who question, research, and try to figure things out for yourselves, we all have different opinions. We are now trapped, weighed down by the board, cultists, the illegal immigrants, all of these working to destroy the fabric of the American system. Daily Caller breaks it down. Democrats are against a House Republican-sponsored bill requiring voters to prove their U.S. citizens more eligible. Republican Texas Rep. Chip Roy introduced the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility SAVE Act to protect U.S. elections from the millions of illegal immigrants flooding our border every year under the Biden administration. Secure elections are a key cornerstone for any representative government. Without them, around the country. Not surprisingly, Democrats are firmly against the same, claiming that any justification for the bill is built on falsehoods about our election system. The White House put out a statement Monday morning over the weekend. Axios reported that House Democrats plan on bringing out the big guns this week. Why? Even if it passes the House, it won't pass. And Biden will veto. What's the point? What will this accomplish? Congress is impotent. They can do nothing. The administration strongly opposes H.R. 8281, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. It is already illegal for non-citizens to vote in federal elections. It is a federal crime punishable by prison and fines. The alleged justification for this bill is based on easily disproven falsehoods. Additionally, making a false claim of citizenship or unlawfully voting in an election is punishable by removal from the United States and a permanent bar to admission. Woo! Wow. I didn't realize they came around so quickly on the two-way argument. Murder is already illegal. Why ban guns? Right? If murder is already illegal, and it's already illegal to go and shoot a bunch of people, we don't need to ban guns. It's just a waste of time. Thank you for the argument, Democrats. The reality is the two things are very distinct. For one, guns are a right enshrined, protected by the Constitution. Your God-given right to defense. Voting is not. Voting is not a guaranteed right for anybody. Voting is a privilege. And if we want there to be a limiting factor on voting, I think that's absolutely fine. You will have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to speak. You have a right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Whether or not you get to change how our system works, not so much I agree with anyone. Founding fathers understood this and see the system erode over time, to the point where it's causing us quite a bit of problems. House Minority Whip Catherine Clark told her colleagues they are urged to vote no on the SAVE Act because it would prevent Americans from registering to vote with their driver's license alone and would further intimidate election officials and overburden states' abilities to enroll new voters. Illegal immigration and its effects on American citizens have become one of the top issues in the 2024 election. Well, it's number one. It was for a while. It was number one for a while, but now Biden's United States is number one. Biden's border policies turned every state into a border state. To say serious problem, that means fixing. This is putting vulnerable Democrats in a position where they have to choose to either toe the party line by supporting illegal immigrants' right to vote, which is undeniably what is and will happen, or vote to block non-citizen voting to save their candidate. Now that's interesting. How many Democrats have constituents, or Democrats, but are concerned about the illegal immigration problem? Many of these lobbyists will do whatever the Democratic Party tells them. It's racist, you're a bigot. Many of them will say, it's good that illegal immigrants vote. We're all evil. But some of them, maybe enough, are going to say, if you block this bill, vote you out. SAVE Act has a good chance of passing the House now that Speaker Mike Johnson has signed on to support the bill. The Speaker's office released a 22-page report outlining the loopholes laws under the National Voter Registration Act, Welfare Reform Act of '96, that paved the way for non-citizen voters. The Biden administration, through the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service, allows illegal immigrants to be eligible to apply for work authorization and simultaneously apply for a Social Security number within 180 days of applying for asylum, whether or not their application. And what we're seeing now at Top American Vote Verification is that millions of people are trying to register to vote who don't appear in the Social Security Network database. So who are they? Why are they registering? Furthermore, why are some of them dead? It's an interesting question. Biden administration's efforts to dismantle border security and related policies have enabled millions of aliens to enter the country, violate our immigration laws, and exploit a system to obtain an SSN. President Biden recently referred to the flood of aliens crossing the border as voters. One state Democratic official is promoting the idea that individuals are eligible to vote in federal elections, even if they're not a citizen, unable to prove citizenship, and in fact, ineligible to vote under federal law. Johnson stated. The biggest hurdle for Republicans will be getting the Democrat-controlled Senate to pass the bill. Republican U.S. Senator Mike Lee is sponsoring the bill on the Senate side. Illegal immigrants and non-citizens across the nation are being improperly registered to vote, allowing them to cast illegitimate ballots in federal elections, Lee said in a statement with Roy. At a time when trusted voting is more important than ever, we must stop foreign election interference and pass the SAVE Act. Voting is both a sacred right and responsibility of American citizenship. Allowing the people of other nations access to our elections is a grave blow to our security. I wonder if I have the HAVV pulled up. I think I pulled it up the other day, but I don't right now. That's not it. We're gonna keep visiting the story. Help America Vote Verification, so that you can understand. This is the Social Security Administration's website. I'm going to choose the latest week, June 22nd, 2024. I will show you how about Missouri. 17,096 individuals registered to vote without an ID. 1,889 came back with no match. 167 were dead. I'm going to ask you this. I'm asking every time we cover the story. How do 167 applications get filled out matching the name and social security number of a dead person? Now you might come to me and say, maybe they applied to register to vote and then died on the spot. SSA got their information before the paperwork went in. Sure. I mean, maybe. Highly unlikely. The person registers to vote when they're alive. So you'd have to believe that, we're talking about a little bit more than around 1% of these applications. Someone, for some reason, fills it out, submits it to the DMV, and what? The DMV just holds it for a little while? They hold it for a little while. This person then, I don't know, drops dead. Family and don't know that they're dead, and then files the paperwork with the Social Security Administration, instantly upload it before the DMV. No, sorry. Maybe in some instances something like that could happen. but 167 times in a week. And you might say, but maybe it's not a week, maybe they're holding on to these. No, I gotta tell you, they update this every week. Get numbers every single week. Here's the previous week: 22,215 dead. 2,480. 10% of the people who registered to vote and the week ending June 15th came back no social security number name match. Okay, maybe some of them wrote the name wrong. Maybe they got the number wrong. And John Smith, my social security number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or I think it's 8 numbers. Right? And oh no, it's 9. Yeah. But let's say that's what they put. But oops, they put 1, 3, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They mixed them up. Yeah, they'll come back no match. I don't know what to tell you. This does not happen. Texas, earlier in the year, was seeing millions. Hundreds of thousands every 100,000 plus every week signing up. In 1 week, Missouri had 20-something thousand dead people. Let me see. Let me try and find what the... When was this? I think it was like April 20th. Let me see if I can find when Missouri had all these dead people trying to vote. Okay, well, here's Missouri. And I chose randomly the week of April 20th, which was not the right one. 97,000 people tried to vote, registered to vote without an ID. Strange. 7,000 came back with no match. 3,766 were dead. Texas had 249,770.
Sorry guys, my dog is spazzing.
44,000, no match. 4,659 dead. I'm telling you, it's staring at us. They can scream Save Act all they want. Trump can scream Save Act all they want. This is likely the shadow campaign right now. And we only found it on accident. Someone noticed this weird voter verification thing. And I tell you, no one's addressing it. The Republicans aren't addressing it. Why isn't anyone filing subpoenas to the SSA to determine what is going on with this ridiculous amount of people trying to register to vote who don't have IDs? And we're dead or non-matching. 41,000 people in 1 week. Make sure we get that number right. Where do we see that? 44,000 in Texas. 44,000 people. 1 week had no match. How does that make sense? You mean to tell me that around a fifth, 20% of people who register to vote in Texas who don't have IDs with their name? BS. Likely answer is illegal immigrants coming through illegal laws are being given work permits when they file for asylum by people at CBP, these human trafficker scumbags. And then they're saying, okay, I got my info, now I'm going to register them. We're going to do that. Will be no large-scale investigation. It's this simple. If illegal immigrants vote, Donald Trump loses, the Democrats controlling the DOJ won't investigate any of this. The states will never investigate. Because they're cheating to steal power. I don't know how big of an impact this will be. I'm just saying. We've been covering the story over and over and over again, and we've gotten no solid answers. Texas said, certainly you're mistaken. You've not registered that many. That's wrong. You don't know why they're reversing. Missouri said, we're doing some voter roll cleanup, which doesn't make sense based on how the HAVV works. They may be doing voter roll cleanup. That would mean they're holding on to their registration forms years later. Decades later? Doesn't seem right to me, but maybe. I'm not saying that for sure. I'll put it this way. You have 500,000 people. Let's do this, because that was the week of April 20th. June 22nd. We have 211,419 people trying to register to vote, and they don't have IDs. 35,000, no match. 1,000 are dead. I don't know how those 1,000 died and how that. But 35,000 people who don't have IDs tried to register and came back with no match. And then and let's make sure we break this down so you really understand what all this means. HAVA is the Help America Vote Act of 2002, and HAVV requires that people submit a voter registration, and when they don't have a license, the state can request a 4-digit SSN verification from the SSA, the state must submit the applicant's name, date of birth, and last four of their SSN. The HAVV system provides one of the following responses. I don't see how Republicans fix this one. I think that was it. If this is the way it's going to be, 2020 may have really been the last one. Now, the average moron in this country will happening. They won't be able to tell the difference. Say, oh, I guess we lost again. They will just live under. I suppose we'll just have to wait and see. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out.
The estrogen that we don't other thing to do, but the primary that are coded from androgen receptors, estrogen receptors, and those are satisfactorily in an adequate amount stimulated, it will tell your brain, okay, we have enough testosterone, DHT, and estrogen that we don't it's fine. Estrogen receptor activation in the body, so it's a clamp down and not make as much too much. So that will give negative feedback pituitary axis to produce as much NRH and LH until need make more. So it's this like finally system where you regulate how much. It assesses how much it needs, waits until there's more, this is more. So, on top of that, NRH, the pituitary up LH, acts on the leading cells, these cells as well, and this is the definitely getting go down and stimulate the testicular testosterone. Exist with sperm agility. So those summation of when you end up with testosterone.
Yeah. So then what's the fate of testosterone?
Fate of it in terms of
Like once it gets out there, it's how much of it is converted to estradiol, HT.
Yeah, this is where like people who neglect like diet lies backhanded consequences of being too obese or something. Example, is strongly expressed in adipose tissue, so if you are too obese, this is problematic, especially in adolescence too. If you have a disproportionate amount of aromatase expression because of fat you could otherwise be using more than you would have if you ran kind of in an indirect way that, hey, we have enough estrogens to make more testosterone.
So they use testosterone.
Yeah, and to preface this, testosterone converts primarily to two hormones, lactase enzyme, HT dihydrotestosterone, significantly greater potency, binding and transcribing activity,
Right back, I gotta go
androgen
pee.
receptor, estrogen, estradiol, that estrogen receptors, body. Those two hormones regulate kind of a balance of androgenicity and in the body, and leads to a system, and this system is regulated binding from liver and differential females, and they also work the same way. It's just so these hormones are quite different and also regulate, stay feminine, masculine. The balance of the androgen free estrogen and the is always translated if you are feminine or masculine. You could flip back and forth almost annually if you really want to get into some bodybuilding. Females will show like physiological. So, and also people are trying to transition from male to female, or some of these changes are deep voice, certain get it high female hormone. But at the end of the day, this is like the primary hormone, and as far as spectrum, androgenic male to estrogenic, feminine-like female hormone exist in both sexes, but DHT, the primary androgen that dictates androgenicity and sexual differentiation and maturation. Testosterone, the main anabolic hormone, drives a lot of the psychoactive effects, and estrogen is kind of like the big balancing act.
Yeah, so let's again just make sure people understand the difference between androgenic and anabolic, because we will come back to this other components as we talk about profile. Well, this one has slightly more androgenic behavior. This one slightly has more.
Yeah, so the androgenicity or androgenic activity of a compound or homogeneous hormones is essentially how masculine it is. So dihydrotestosterone, welfare, 5-reduced athletic testosterone is the most androgenic hormone and significantly inhibit estrogen's activity even in does. And even if you had, to frame how important you have a male, if you wiped out DHT before puberty, he would basically, that's how you end up with a micropenis. You have individuals who are not undergo shit.
So in other words, if you took a male before puberty and just put him on dutasteride or finasteride and zeroed out his DHT, but with making no change on his testosterone,
you have the same amount of muscle, if not no temporal recession, acne, not as much body hair, micropenis, probably visibly male voice. Probably not as deep as it should be, but that is, we see this in pseudo-hermaphrodites that have a mutation gene that encodes 5-alpha. So this is kind of the advent of these enzyme inhibitors. Right? And DHT, the most androgenic hormone, the most still masculinizing too. Estrogen on the opposite side of the spectrum, zero masculinization, feminizing. Swings by.
So, talked a little bit, discussed this on many previous podcasts, but just in case folks haven't listened, right? So, testosterone or DHT make their way into the cell, into the cytoplasm where they bind receptor. To your point, DHT does so with far, I mean, it's on the order, one order, maybe 20 times binding efficiency, the androgen receptor. This new complex of testosterone or DHT bound to the AR makes its way into the nucleus where it acts as a transcription factor binding to DNA and imparting on it the transcription translation. That's how we make stuff. So that's how it impacts cell protein synthesis.
Here's one thing I should have said is androgenic actually asked me this. Not anabolic. So androgenic masculinizing, but does not necessarily equate to muscle. You could have severe masculinization with an absence of actual muscle. Translation to.
So, by the way, how is DHT post-puberty?
Seemingly, it depends, because from a cognitive health perspective, a balanced estrogen standpoint, a violation penis standpoint, there are certain things that say it's critical, and there's also just as easily say it's necessary, mandatory, survive, lead, thrive, and lack DHT entirely. Even when a lot of people will demonize 5-alpha-base inhibitors, justifiably so in some cases, but even when you look to placebo versus finasteride versus finasteride, side effect profile is similar.
Yeah, dutasteride and finasteride being two drugs that used initially for reducing prostate size, because DHT disproportionate prostate growth. Also used, I would say used. Yes, and we have
Hi,
talked about
Brenda.
this on 2 podcasts previously about post-finasteride
I can appreciate that.
which is a debatable idea. In other words,
Not looking
there's
for that right now, though.
consensus in the literature, even the existence of this, let alone prevalence, let alone the reversibility of it. All of these things really unknowns. And actually, it's created quite a bit of a conundrum for us because we have a number of patients who take finasteride or dutasteride, and
Stands at 5 alpha reductase.
yeah, I mean, look, I think I'll be honest with you. I never really paid enormous attention about a year ago. And I think right now, chances I probably would put somebody on it. Person, so in other words, if a person has BPH, we're not going to manage that anyway. The urologist has far better ways to manage BPH than 5-alpha reductase inhibitors. So I feel pretty strongly that if you're presenting with BPH, you should not be on it. It's simply unnecessary. It's like if someone came to me and said, my ApoB is too high, and I gave them a bile acid series from the circa 1980. I mean, it's just
Stop.
If you're talking about it from a hair loss perspective, that's something I obviously know much about. I would say they're going to go and see a hair doctor. You're going to try to give them 50 different proprietary compounds, which, by the way, I want to come back to that in a second. I would encourage them, if they've never taken it before, because I think there are enough other compounds, oral minoxidil, topical 5-alpha reductase inhibitors, PRP, transplants. I think there are tools that you to avoid the small, but not necessarily zero risk of something in terms of sexual side effects. The worst case might be reversible. What about you? What do you think?
I think that several drugs you just said have either inherent side effect profiles of finasteride or the 5-alpha reductase inhibition systemically is not effective as well. Otherwise, dutasteride is interesting. They have some capacity to stay local, especially if you do mesotherapy. We'll get to it in a
I
second.
think that's the one. I wasn't aware that.
Yeah, it's the molecular biology. It's more the molecular mass of the drug. So there's this like arbitrary rule, but the is greater or less than 500 daltons. But there is a lesser or greater ability to actually get systemic distribution across the body. Finasteride, it's like 600 or 700 finasterides, 300 or 200 or something.
And to be clear, you're right. I don't think that systemic minoxidil is necessarily a benign drug. And the other thing is, nobody really can give an explanation for what the right dose is. If you look at people who are dosing oral minoxidil, it's insane. So, I don't like to be in the business of prescribing things for which I don't have a great understanding, which is why I'm in the business of treating hair loss. Not because I don't think it's something we're addressing if it bothers someone, but I think the bigger issue is it would be really awful trying to treat a cosmetic condition like hair loss. You induced a devastating consequence of your immune system. That's really where I find myself concerned. Now, it also appears that if you've been on finasteride for a long period of time and you're not experiencing any of these side effects, you're probably fine. So I also don't want this to turn into like listening to this who's been taking Nisha for 10 years, who's never had an issue, going like, oh my god, I gotta stop this stuff. The literature would suggest, there's a pretty good review we'll link to, that if you're gonna have these side effects, you're gonna have 6 months.
Yeah. In general, oftentimes the treatment doesn't actually interact with the AR, inhibit the potential for stimulation or recognizing the AR for DHT reduction, systemic anti-androgens, something. You are essentially just putting a band-aid on the issue. So if you stimulate growth, you're still not preventing for if you transplant, the hair on your head, and to further loss actual existing hair. So oftentimes it's like trying to row against, like you are continuously getting pushed back, and eventually you're going to get so few visible hair left that's healthy that it doesn't matter how much. And so it's definitely effective, but I think it should be reserved for a response. This topical seems to be our tolerated side effect. Predictable. Great outcomes. Self-help. Which we can get into, but Asteroid in itself, it seems to be, I don't want to try and come out and say I'm not necessarily trying to get balance. Take a balanced approach to it, but prevalence of side effects is not nothing, but it's overblown by the opposite camp that so that would you ever inhibit the hormone that is the primary energy you rely on. But similarly, why would you inhibit fear something? Fear outcome whereby there's benefit, and when AHT and something, it's hard to over primary thing dictating if you some people that hair loss.
Right. Yeah. I guess so. I do think there's a difference because I think ApoB serves benefit. We would actually, if someone created an antisense oligonucleotide that got ApoB, all it would do is guarantee we don't have disease in our species. We wouldn't suffer. We'd still be able to use the HDLs for cholesterol transport, which we currently use LDL for. But I think to take your analogy a step further, what you're basically saying is if a person cares as much about hair loss as they do about heart disease, and by that logic, DHT is causal.
Which sounds absurd, but let's just, run
I would posit that there are lots of people who care about hair loss.
Yeah. Psychological stress, some people, significant and should not be overlooked by the seemingly like silliness. Shake it, bro. You deal with yeah, sure. Yeah, I just deal with.
Although I think there's a statistic that no bald person is in the United States.
Oh.
So there you go. So there's a couple of occupations you got to take off the list.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned when you were going through your insane anabolic steroid use, you at a very young age, if you were in your 20s, were already starting to lose. So how did you reverse that?
So it was just those significantly, and eventually down to replacement therapy. But it was the introduction of 5-alpha reductase inhibitor initially thing. Thereafter, I introduced.
Weary_Raven is my Discord if you want to add me. Go ahead.
Anti-androgen that's experimental. See if the some that are in right now that actually look promising and have watching close comes to fruition, which is actually compounds that eat the androgen receptor locally, systemic androgenic activity to maintain systemic androgen level, just localize it, scalp essentially. So I use a topical anti-androgen reductase inhibitor to remain needle movers for me. It's a ketoconazole shampoo. But those two things and decreasing the burden of androgen significantly, barely effective at baseline.
Meaning you never regain.
No. Yeah, that's the thing with hair. The sketchy thing is even if you're trying to decide, maybe I should treat it, maybe I shouldn't, I'll think about it for a bit. If it gets worse, visual representation of loss is typically when you've lost a lot of ground. You can pull head and see. However, once you finally notice an angle recession, it's not something you've been looking carefully because you've never dealt with it. And once you actually notice it, picture downlining, and you've already lost hair, and no guarantee it's going to be denting.
So you're saying, so did you regain the hair that you had lost with this protocol, or just completely stop
some regrowth, but expecting yourself to get back to baseline where you calculate there if you've been exposed to androgens, visibly noticing it, it's unlikely. Yeah. So, it's not to say it's impossible if I took minoxidil as well. A decent amount of the way there, but it's the longer you wait and let hair fall miniaturize, the more see you are risking. So making back round is way harder than preventing yourself from losing in the first place. It's like you
So what are the names that people are going to... Let's make sure we give people the names of these companies. So
finasteride is like main primary final.
And you take 1 milligram of that daily?
I take dutasteride.
0.5. Is that 0.5?
Yeah, I take 0.5 a day. So that off gel that essentially.
And your DHT level is close to 0?
Age girl. I think one of the guys with the highest IQs on the planet is about decades.
Okay, so then what else are you taking besides dutasteride?
Dutasteride right now is the only thing I take more of topical application schedule.
I think he's talking about Chris Langan there.
We're doing that big salvage effort. H20 to the stack.
It was topical application of something.
That is notable, actually.
One experiment. Androgen. I don't necessarily recommend people use RU 5884 when they're actually on human safety data on Horizon. Many years ago, that wait, you don't really have so much time, right? So
Yeah,
you're not going to sit around.
Things that are on the queue that have more safety data coming down.
This company called Intor has it, and it seems to be well tolerated. Outcome, hair count, to dutasteride, which is natural. Very few use outcome, even make it more making it right now the most effective things. We find also reductions in oxygen and everything. Little big essential. Some people might get better benefit. Even another person, general than me and me. Potentially microneedling time activity scalp and the inhibition of free androgenic signaling scalp, whether you do that. Reductase inhibition, androgen activity locally, you know, or a couple of both, like I did, but those are the main. And some people go super hard. Crazy hair loss reversals you will see. And transitioning to women who female hormone. I never recommend anyone do that, but it's a pretty interesting data set to like.
So estrogen and progesterone would, you see it in women actually, HRT, especially progesterone, really thicken hair.
Progesterone.
Well, this is in women. I mean, I have no idea.
We're talking about anti-androgen. So somebody transitioning would use a cyclothymic acetate, bicalutamide, that nature of this new or.
And the first two, which I'm not even familiar with, is that block the androgen binding to the androgen receptor, or
Cyclothymic, a very potently anti-gonadotrophic. So it's like will actually inhibit you from producing, NRH.
So it's effectively a chemical concentration.
Nope.
That's like a steroid anti-androgen. And there's a non-steroidal one. And yeah, this non-steroidal variant bicalutamide seems to get better tolerated, for toxic, and actually raise your hormone levels on paper you're testing. The receptor is occupied by silent androgen receptor agonists. Yeah, those are like extreme, essentially.
Yeah.
Some inhibition.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to kind of TRT then. So kind of establish what's going on. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. I'm actually doing my blood again next week, so we're going to see how. So I was going to actually talk right about that. Right? Let's talk about quote unquote what's normal. So I've never found a compelling table for normal.
The only reason that the normal level for testosterone is listed as it is because it falls within the standard deviations of a typical normal distribution.
But I've only really seen data
One standard deviation below
broad chunks,
270 nanograms per deciliter. One standard deviation above, I think it's like 2 standard deviations, whatever, is 1100.
Whereas for total, I can show you by decade or something.
That doesn't mean that those people that are in that lower level are actually good with their testosterone.
Total testosterone
They're not.
is 800 nanograms per deciliter. Most of that, and sex hormone binding globulin and albumin probably do the lion's share of binding. And if a guy's got 2% of that, it's free or unbound, that would translate to 16 deciliter free testosterone. That's estimated, by the way. But it's very important people understand this. When you go to the lab and you get a test done, measuring testosterone, that's direct measurement. Right? We should talk about as a versus LCMS. We're estimating the free based on the measurement of binding. So that's the introduction of potential error number. You really know how much free testosterone you. The other thing is you don't know how many androgen receptors you don't have.
Alright guys,
idea
that's
how
it for
much
today.
whatever amount of testosterone you have
See y'all
is
tomorrow.
saturated
So,
in
it's been real, it's been fun, it's been real fun.